base and the height. So I redrew that. Okay guys, so here are the answers to these problems to identify the base and the height. So I redrew them, so here's 3 and then I have 4 and 5 on the back. So you should also have these pictures in your notes as well. Sorry. So for this first triangle, you want to identify the base and the height. So when you're finding the base and the height, you want to look for that right angle. So here, I'm highlighting in, that's my right angle. So that means that this is 90 degrees. So if that's 90 degrees, I want to think what two lines formed this angle. So it was this one and this one. So I would label 24 as my base or 7 as my height. Okay, right, it's circle 7 and 24. I could interchange these because they're both parts of my triangle. So if I did call 7 the base, I could call 24 the height, because if I rotate this and looked at the triangle this way, I could call either or. For the next one, it's a little bit tricky, so you see dotted lines. So again, first you want to find where two lines are perpendicular to each other. So they're perpendicular to each other when they form a 90-degree angle. So right here I'm highlighting over my 90-degree angle, which means that this line that's dotted and this line, I'll move my hand in a second, are perpendicular to each other. So I want to use 6, that's going to be labeled as my height. Now, as far as the base, we want to think, do I want to use 10, 3, or do I want to add them all together? You want to just use 10 as the base, so that would be my base, because that's the only part of my triangle. Yes, the dotted line was extending it, but the extension is not part of my triangle, so the base has to be part of your triangle. In this one, you wouldn't say that 6 is the base and 10 is the height, even if you rotate it, because the base, like I said in the first video earlier this morning, the base needs to be part of my triangle. And the straight, or like the bolded lines, not the dotted lines, are part of your triangle. So this is not part of my triangle. Again, that's just showing I could get this right or 90-degree angle. Question number 3, so I have a triangle. I could look at it, if I look at it this way, it's sideways, or I could look at it and turn my notebook that way, but let's keep it because you can see them anyway. So for this, 22 and 26.8 would be my base and my height. 22 would be my base and 26.8 would be my height. Again, you want to look for where you find a right angle. So here is my right angle. So again, that square shows it. So you want to find that square. What two lines made it? Well, it was this one and this one. So 22 is the base because that's part of my triangle. This 26.8 is the height because that's the perpendicular line to the base. So again, those are the two lines that made up the right angle there. And then 4 and 5, flip over my notebook. So we have a triangle. Here is my right angle because that box shows that this is 90 degrees. So that means that these lines are perpendicular to each other. Let me see if I can hold my phone and do. So that line. And this time they just dotted the line in the middle. Because again, the dotted line is just showing that it's not part of the triangle. That's just on the inside. So I would want to use 14 as my base. And I would want to use 5 as the height of the triangle. Because those are the two lines that make it perpendicular. And then let's look at the last one here. Oh, I forgot to label this point C. So we have no measurements, so you want to call them by their line segments. So if I was looking at this, first thing I want to do is find a right angle. I found a right angle right here. So I want to think what two lines make up that angle. So I'm going to trace over them. That line and that line form that right or 90-degree angle. So again, the base needs to be part of the triangle. So right here would be the base, AD. So I would write that like this. I'd write line segment AD is the base. And then CB here would be the height because those are the two lines. So I write the little like line above it to show line segment CB, and I actually probably should write it like we said, did everything else in alphabetical order. So let's write BC is the height. Okay, AD is only the base because again, I should have drew these that had the dashed lines on the picture because there were dashed lines here. That's just an extension. AC is not the base because from D to C, that's just me extending out my line. Only from A to D was actually part of the triangle. And then the height was what was perpendicular to the base, even though we just extended it out. Okay, so now just click on Google Classroom, how many of them you got right. Like I said, it's perfectly fine if you struggled a little bit. Just be honest so that way I know where to go with making my videos and what to assign for tomorrow. Okay, let me know if you have questions. Bye guys.